Here we are, Wednesday night in the room podcast, and with a special guest, our first ever local comedian in the room podcast. And I did say it, folks. I said we were branching out. We were going to have some comedians, some bands in here, and still have the MMA show going. But man, Trevor Dion, man, welcome to the show for the first time, and being my lab rat, chopping my cherry tonight with the comedian in the room. How you doing, Bar?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me. This is going to be fun.
Well, I put the post out there on a group page, a open mic group page on Facebook, and I'm very fluent in the Facebook media. I'm all over the place posting, doing memes. But I put out there that I was looking for comedians, local comedians to New England, come on the show and talk about life as a comedian, how you get into it, how you got into it, how you think you're funny and stuff. And you were one of the, first gentlemen, first comedians that jumped on there, and I kind of was weeding people out. I got a ton of friggin', crazy things going on my messenger, like crazy
It
stuff.
can get wild. It can get wild. This is a podcast. Imagine trying to book a show.
I can imagine. But I checked you out, and you know a few people I know, and you are, I said, working comedian, and you are out there doing your stuff, my man. So let's get right to it, bro. How'd you get into it, and how long have you been a comedian on the circuit?
I started when I was 19, and I'm 28. So a long time. I started after watching Netflix comedy specials. I just kind of watched, I always thought before, I know he's a controversial figure, but I watched Louis, and I always thought comedy was Seinfeld before him. I thought you had to be neat and observational and be like, well, what's the deal with? But instead it was just weird and gross, and I was just like, oh, well, I'm a weird dude, and I think I'm relatively funny. I'm gonna try this stand-up thing. And I started at Pub on Park in 2004 or 14, and in April, and here we are.
Let me ask you a question. It was a Monday night, right? Was it a Monday night?
It was a Monday night.
Well, a little coincidence here. I grew up, 2 blocks down the street from Pub on Park. It used to be the Legion Pub, the bowling alley's there. I was in leagues. My older brothers and sisters, stumbled out of that place growing up. And here you are doing stand-up over there. You don't get a ton of people on an open mic. It's give and take depending on who's hosted and stuff. But your first time up there, what was it like? Did you have a crowd behind you? What was going on with that?
It was a rowdy room. A lot of talking in the background. It was before they expanded. They have a nice stage and more seating now. They took over the laundromat next door. But this was before that.
So you were it was like the alley.
Yeah.
It was like an alley. Yeah, the brick wall, right? Yeah, yeah.
I performed right next to the dart board.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's where the guys used to play guitar too. As soon as you
and
walk in, right to your left,
yep,
right?
That was me, but with jokes. And I kind of just regurgitated jokes that I memorized, and it didn't go well. It honestly didn't even go that bad. Looking back at it, it was just it's an open mic. Sometimes that's just what open mics are. It's yelling into the void, which is just sometimes that's comedy.
Just venting. What I've seen a lot is people going out there and just venting about their life, and if they get a little feedback from the crowd, it gets louder, and the more exciting does that fuel you when you hear a giggle here and there?
Well, yeah. Well, you gotta open mics are underutilized, and the people don't know how to use an open mic. There is people who just are up there being like, I can't afford therapy, and this is their time to shine. Just time to yell into the ether. And And those people can be funny, and there are people who could do that well. And then there are people who are like really jokey jokes people who go up there with sometimes basically flashcards, and they'll like read off jokes they read. And like when you get the littlest of laugh, sometimes that equates to, in a real room with real people, a huge laugh, depending on the joke and who's in the crowd. So yeah, that is open mic comedy.
So you said if it's done right, is weeding out like people just coming off the street want to vent. Like how do you do it right? Do you have a host that does the circuit, and that's something they do? They hold their own open mics?
First of all, it would be nice, but no. There a lot of the times open mics, especially in Rhode Island, have like rotating hosts. I actually am just realizing this right now that many other places don't have rotating hosts, but Rhode Island, the mics that I know of, the host usually changes. Which is, so sometimes you're working with somebody you know who's professional, and sometimes you're working with somebody who doesn't know what to do. And like they'll make mistakes which are like almost harmless, but they definitely are like, dude. Like there's mistakes, like sometimes they baton it, which is like basically instead of putting the mic in the mic stand, they just hold it out to you for you to grab it. And it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's so awkward to be like, now go away.
Thanks for that.
Thanks for that.
Now go away.
Now go away.
Do you ever like, is that part of your joke ever? Like when they hand it to you, you pay, like, just, all right, thanks, go away. Let me do my job now.
I'm a relatively like, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo on stage. I'm not mean. I can't be a dick. People don't like me as a dick, at least in some ways.
Was that part of your show at one time, being a dick?
I don't know if I was ever a dick. I was like, in the beginning, a lot of comedians start very edgy because they don't know how to get a laugh, so they go for a shock. And that gets you a response, and that's all you need in the beginning is a response, because you're just like, I want something. Especially in open mics where people are like numb, or comedians are like very dirty or gross or weird people, so only the darkest stuff can get in there sometimes. That's why, honestly, like I get really happy or high on the fact that if I do a really dumb, silly joke or something like that and get a response from a comedian, I'm like, that joke works so well that it bypassed their sick, perverted minds into their other brain. And it was like, oh, that's actually funny. And those laughs are always the best laughs.
You cracked the shell. You cracked the shell.
You gotta crack the shell.
So that first time up there, did you think you had it? Like
no. no, absolutely not. I started off. It was I've been doing this for a long time, but the first couple of years were like the first 2 or 3 years were rough in the sense of like not committing to comedy is like the death of being like a comedian. Like, and also I just wasn't prepared. Like I didn't have a car. I had to borrow my parents' car, and I drove like once a month to an open mic because I didn't even have a job, so I had to like borrow money for gas. And I would do a mic once a month, which is just not how you can do comedy. You have to do it way more consistently, especially in the beginning. So my first year or two was just like not me getting much better, just me kind of just doing whatever I feel like in the moment, and then usually that was bad. Which is that's what I.
Well, you're finding yourself in the the early years or early times.
Oh yeah,
right?
100%. You're trying to find yourself, but if you don't do it enough, you can't find yourself. Like there are people who like do a mic a month, and they are, or like maybe a mic a year, and they just do like bringer shows, which I will explain what that is in a second if you like me to. But like if you do one mic a month, you're just not being able to like figure out your style or your approach or anything, because you're just not doing it enough.
Now you mentioned categories of shows, or you mentioned before we came on, and you just mentioned another show, but there's different shows, different audiences, right? Different places that you perform, and you know what kind of crowd you're going to get there.
Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't know what type of crowd you're getting. It's really random. Then there's certain ways you can kind of guess and you'll be right. Like I do private gigs, I do public gigs, I do all kinds of types of gigs. I've done terrible gigs. I've done gigs in basements. I've done gigs in apartments,
Laundry mats.
I'm doing a show on New Year's Eve in someone's house. Like I'm just doing someone's house party.
Is it just you, or you got a couple of friends coming with you?
I can't. First of all, don't want to get myself killed, so I'm always bringing somebody.
You came here on your own.
Sometimes I'm not always the best at thinking it out.
You came to a random dark alley today.
Also, I did watch the podcast. I was like, if this was to kill me, this was very elaborate.
Yeah, I haven't murdered anyone yet. That would make me mad famous. My podcast would like go #1 for like 1 week, and I'm in jail.
Like, I am killing this guest. That's how you start or end it. You do a preview.
My first and last comedian in the room podcast.
But yeah, there's all types of shows, and you can have some rough estimate of what type of crowd you're getting. Also, there are like requirements. There's like, I need a clean comic. I need a comic who can be like really dirty or like like most people don't need a really dirty or really clean. They usually want someone in the middle, but there are shows that are like dirty shows, clean shows. There's all kinds of different shows.
Now, as far as getting a show, do you have agent? You do it all yourself? Are you involved? Like, I know in the fighting community, which I'm involved there are some managers have a few fighters, or there is a promotion that takes care of them and they fight for them more than other promotions. Is that kind of what goes on as far as you getting booked and you getting shows? You do it all on your own?
Yeah. You it's really, I don't know. There are headliners. I don't know anybody, at least personally, that has an agent that at least I'm aware of. It's all kind of firing from the hip. You do have to promote yourself, which is, and you have to like one of the reasons I'm doing the podcast, your podcast, was other than you seem like a great guy, is that I need to promote myself more. And you need to know you need to promote yourself as a comedian. You got to reach out to bookers, and it's an exhausting process, which is really just sucks your life force right out of you.
Now you're in. I've checked out your Facebook, your Instagram. We're gonna check out some of your Instagram. At least show it so people know and get familiar with it from the show tonight. But you have do you have some comedians that you regularly do shows with, or like?
Oh yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm going to be doing a show with this guy or
this
lady, and
100%.
And how does that work? Like, who puts the show on? Is like you talked about like some revolving, hosts or whatever.
Usually it depends on the thing. There's people who run shows or open mics at venues, and those are the people who are usually like booking the shows. There are like private gigs are booked by me through a website I do. I use the website the Bash, and I book gigs off that. But I do that through my process. I also you got to send a tape. You got to do a bunch of phone calls. You got to discuss what they want, and then like see if you guys can reach a agreement. But yeah, sometimes it's just like venue owners, people who talk to the venue. It's all kinds of ways.
Jeez, there's a lot going on in there.
It really is.
Now, all right, so a national or a huge act comes in. Like, say, I don't know many comedy clubs as far as like which ones are better than the other. I know the Comedy Connection, go there every so often. But when you have like a big act coming in, and I know Comedy Connection has them quite often, how do you get that? Like, how do you get picked for a gig to open up for something like that?
Well, there's usually, for the Comedy Connection, and like a lot of clubs, there are the people who book the features and hosts. And in Rhode Island, very tight competition in regards of like there isn't a lot of shows at the Connection that like have openers and features. Like then in regards to like sometimes the headliner brings a feature, and you really have to fight for the hosting spots, and that means there's like less feature spots. So there's people who are features who are hosting now. So the competition is fierce, and you have to like win over the booker of the Comic Connection or like whoever the club owner is, or it's sometimes the club owner, but it's really usually not the club owner. It's usually whoever the club owner hires. But if you impress either the booker or the club owner, that usually gets you somewhere eventually.
You've been impressing in these years here. Like you're learning new things as you go. Kissing ass a little bit. Is that part of it now?
Well, first of all, yes, kissing ass is almost mandatory. But I finally think I got it in at the Connection at least a little bit. Like I have my foot semi in the door. I haven't got a spot yet, but the booker was impressed by a video I sent of him. And he was like, I'm going to book you. And I was like, fantastic. I'd love to hear that. But I haven't got the spot yet. But the process at certain clubs are always different. Like the Comic Connection, they generally want you to do a bringer show, which is a show where you're required to bring people.
And all right, so you require to bring people. You can lie and say I'm bringing a ton of people, but you'll never get another show there. Or do you have to, like, how do you guarantee you're going to be bringing people there?
I'm going to say what I think. I could be wrong. I feel like someone out there will be like, he's wrong. But I've done the Comic Connection bringer show enough times that I think I know this. You have, usually it's a minimum of 4 people. There's the host or whoever's running the show has a piece of paper with your name, and they come in. You're like, who are you here for? And you're like, they're gonna have to be like, I'm here for Trevor. And so they keep putting lines, and if you don't usually hit the 4, they're like, you can't perform tonight, and that's how it ends.
Wow. Do you hire people like outside? I'll give you $5 if you come in and just fucking say I'm here for Trevor.
I'm not gonna name names. I'm not gonna name names, but I've heard people get in trouble of doing that to Connection. I've heard people do it at the Mohegan Sun bringer show where they just go in the casino and be like, hey, you coming to a comedy show? Let me pay for your ticket. And I know people who've gotten in that way, but at the Connection, I think most of the time that is that ends. You usually get caught.
Oh, wow. And usually, all right, there's competition. And like you said, is there, of course, it's like, there's like some high school and shit going behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there backstabbing? Is there bad mouthing? It's dog eat dog world. Is that kind of how it is back there, or is it kind of a community?
No, it's a lot of the backstabbing. No, it's backstabbing.
Let's get some of those backstabbers in here.
I see 2 of them. They're not backstabbers, but I know 2 of the people watching.
Oh, how they do it? I can't see it.
Sam Pelletier and Andrew are watching. They're judging.
That's awesome.
But no, like backstabbing's a strong word. It's more like there are just so little spots, and there are so many niches, which is insane in Rhode Island. It's such a small state, but the comedy scene should just be like maybe 1 or 2 niches, whatever the word is.
Close enough.
There's like 5 or 6 of them, and that's crazy. And because you like mess with like individual niches, and you will be done comedy for the same amount of time, and one person in that niche will not know or not like the other person in that niche, and you're like, you've been doing comedy like the same amount of time. How is this possible? We're in a small state. How can we be this petty? It can get tight.
Like I said, high school. It's high school stuff. That happens in. I would say in a lot of like close knit entertainment kind of things, strippers.
Really? All right.
I'm trying to get a couple of those on here too.
I guess that makes sense. There's money involved.
Exactly. When there's money or fame or a spot to get noticed, that's like that's pay.
It's tough in Rhode Island, and there is a lot of shit talking, but also I think it's not a dead scene. There's plenty of stage time. It's just such a small scene, and there's just so little spots that they're like, you have to fight to the death basically to get a spot, or you have to really smooth talk yourself into the spot. You there are like,
But that's part of the act too. I mean, if you can do that and smooth talk yourself into a spot, you can do that to people also. You just put a little humor to it.
you would. I wish. No. Yes, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are people like I vibe with very well, and like, well, I'll get a spot occasionally from them, or they'll like say my name to a booker or stuff. There is like a little bit of like, hey, you're great, or you're a nice guy, you've helped me, I'm gonna help you out type deal. But that's only like I'm just not good at like pretending to like somebody that I don't like. It's not my strong suit. I wish I was, but I'm usually very sincere, and I can't pretend not to like somebody.
How do you go about letting them know that you're not very fond of them? Do you just wait until the time when they get in your space, and then you let them know, or is it right off the bat, I don't like you?
No, well, I think they can tell. Here's the thing. It's like, I think they can usually tell just by when people are complimenting them, or like things are like really like people are smoothing. Like if there are like his friends and they were like really enjoying. Okay, here it is. Sorry,
I'm getting it out of them.
It's on people when it's your friend on the stage. When it's their friends on the stage and they're telling jokes, their friends are dying. And you're sitting there like, I don't hate him. I don't like him, but it's not that I'm not laughing because I don't like him. I don't find these jokes funny. So you can tell if you don't like laugh at them on stage. Also, not a good laugher. I wish I was. There are easy laughers out there who are getting booked way more than I am. I just am not that guy. I wish I was. I wish I was an easy laugh. I just like kind of just like, but I'm not like an easy laugh. That's how you kind of have to tell people that's how you tell people you don't like them usually, by not laughing.
That sounds about right. Not giving them that head nod like you're doing great or whatever. As far as hecklers and listen, I'm all over YouTube. I follow comedians, or they show up. Their reels are constantly showing up. So I watched their clip, a minute clip of them heckling somebody or heckling them. Is that something that you're not an aggressive comic, right? You kind of
no.
Is that something? So you wouldn't necessarily get heckled that much, or
here's the thing: drunk people are drunk, and when they're drunk, they'll talk to you. They'll think that they'll like, this isn't stand up, this is a conversation. And here's the thing. I don't get heckled a lot, mainly because if you start trying to heckle me, I'll just steamroll you and just keep doing material. On occasion, though, they will like just say something in the wrong time, and you gotta mess with them. I do mess with people, but I can't mess with them in like other people can mess with people. Like other people will be like, go fuck yourself, and then like make fun of their appearance. If I do that, I can't be like, go fuck yourself. Anyway, my goofy behavior. No, I gotta be goofy within making fun of somebody. Yeah. So it's like concise within who I am on stage. I have had like to deal with hecklers on occasion, and it's not always the best thing. Like I did a contest at an open, was at an open mic, and I was doing my set, and I have this joke about Fall River.
The river.
Yes, where I say Fall River is not known for a lot of good things, and there's more to the joke, but that's how I started off. But I said that, and then I heard somebody like, "We're known for some stuff," and I was just like, "All right, what? Chow mein sandwiches?" And I was like, you mean those diarrheas on a bun? Like those wet blankets of a sandwich where if you don't eat it immediately, it's just soggy bread with like some chow mein. You can
wring it out.
Yeah, you could literally it's like a fucking towel. And I kind of joked with her and I kind of made fun of it and I got a huge pop. But I was a little antagonistic, but it wasn't making fun of her. It was making fun of what she said, so it didn't come off as me being just a direct dick. Like, yeah.
The crowd's gotta, when you're there and you're there to see a comedian, comics, that you're vulnerable to if you open your mouth, you are an open target. I mean,
Yeah.
depending on who you get. I mean, there's some comedians that will roast you until you fucking cry or have to leave the room, or you want to hit them in the head, man.
Yeah, I'm a little exhausted by the YouTube crowd work thing because I think it makes crowds not want to sit up front. Like I've done shows, I've produced shows where like the first 2 rows are empty, and I've actually done this smart thing where we set up the 2 rows up front and no one sat in them, and then we just folded those chairs and made the new front row.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Just like made a barrier. You guys are the front row. Listen, I love the front row because I could take a joke. You know what I mean? It's like I bust on myself all the time. But I like going there. Like one time I was called a fuck boy at one time. It was great. It was awesome. I love that coming. I'm in that category. I was like, awesome.
That is an honorary thing.
I look like a fuck boy. Thank you.
I've seen it go bad. I've seen I've heard my friend Brianna Woodward. She just kind of did like one joke, like a light joke at someone's appearance, and the guy just left just immediately. He was just like, nope, and just like walked out the front door.
He was having a bad day. He was already a little off-centered. As far as you just spoke about, mentioned a woman's name, and we mentioned cliques and people that you associate with and have gigs with.
Yeah.
Who are some of those? I mean, you don't have to name them by names, but are there some brands out there that some open mics? They got to be. They have to call themselves something, right? Is it somebody's open mic or what I mean?
There are brands, and they're like, are you talking about people who run mics and stuff?
Yeah,
and
there's
shows?
some of those, but some of the bars are just it's on their own. They open mic and
there's only one. There's one mic in Rhode Island that is not ran by like a brand or anything. That is the mic at in a SKU. In Providence, Winsong, who has been supporting comedy for a while. She's been running like open mics for like good 4 or 5 years at her different venues she's had. She has a mic at a SKU where that's one of the rotating hosts. Like she never has the same host at least twice in a week. There are brands in regards of like production companies. Like there are people who are like I'm part of Practicing Productions, which is me and a couple of friends who produced a couple of shows. John Parada, Comedy Factory.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see on Facebook, and he does a ton of stuff.
Yes,
and I saw him host a bunch of open mics when I used to go to Pub on Park. He would do a lot of those.
That Pub on Park's one of his mics.
Yeah.
And then there's like Wicked Funny Productions. There's like there's a couple. Oh, there's also Funny for Funds. Those are actually kind of the.
Oh,
three.
those are cool too.
Yeah.
Those are a great idea.
Those are the 3 big ones that I can think of on top of my head.
And how do you? All right, so Funny for Funds. I would imagine they have hired comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Do they rotate their comedians, or is it kind of set? We have our set comedians.
Every group of that I just said have their favorites. They are in their rotation. They will be booked no matter what, at least once or twice a month. Maybe. They could change, but like they have their favorites. There are people who squeeze in and get their spots. There's no guarantee you're going to get another spot there anytime soon, but you'll get that spot and you can prove yourself and hopefully get booked again.
Now, are you in one of those that you get work kind of consistently with, or you jump around? Are you a whore out there?
I am really
with everybody.
I'm everywhere. I'm just everywhere. I'm kind of a whore.
Kissing ass everywhere.
I'm a whore. I can't. I don't charm each group enough for them to be in their.
Well, you're dabbling in everything. It's hard.
Just dabble.
I do. ADHD going on.
They're not like. I mean, I'm not gonna get into the real politics, but they're not all like huge fans of each other. So you can't do too much of one, or you'll lose the others. Like there is like I dabble mainly because I think it makes you a better comedian to dabble. it hurts you and it helps you. It hurts you because you don't get booked more because you're not doing one type of room. But they all three or even more run a specific type of show. And I think as a comedian, what makes you strong is diversifying what types of shows you're doing.
As far as comedians in the area, mentioned John, that Steve used to work for Disney.
Steve DiNuccio.
That was one of his big things when I used to go see him, is that he did his like skit about Disney World or whatever, like singing and dancing or whatever he does. That's a lot of reps, and that's a lot of practice. You know what I mean? You just can't get up there and pull that stuff off, like a whole production like that, and what he does. And as far as those guys, are those some of the guys? They must have been around when you started.
Yeah.
Were those guys? I mean, getting started, were they where they are now? Were they kind of the guys that were like,
for the most part,
getting a lot of gigs and stuff?
There's an interesting thing about how long, because I've been doing comedy for a long time. So there are waves, and there are some people who just recede and never appear again. There are people who move. There are people who quit comedy. There are people who keep going. I guess my class, my comedy class, the 2014 class, I think there might be 3 of us left. Even then, some of those people don't do much comedy. There are people before me I know who are still doing it, but even some of those people just kind of dabble. There are people who don't. I realize about 3 or 4 years in, there is no half measures. You gotta go all in or nothing. If you don't do this comedy thing once, the minimum, twice a week, I don't think you really care about doing comedy. And I know that's going to annoy people who are going to hear this. And I'm right. I'm right. Do comedy or don't.
Get your reps in there, people.
Get your reps in.
You can go to, there's open mics somewhere that
you can
just walk off the street and put your name down, and I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Strip club.
There are people who do strictly shows. They just do bringer shows, and they have maybe they're a small pocket of people who book them. And I guess in some ways, if you just acknowledge this is a hobby, I guess technically there's no harm in it. But it's just they kind of get salty about not getting booked. And I'm like, I can't feel bad for you. You don't work at this.
Yeah.
I'm in the trenches getting shot at, and you're
There's backstabbing everywhere, and I'm ducking.
Backstabbing's always been the strongest word. I not much backstabbing, occasional backstabbing.
I'm just trying to spill the beans and get them
a dash of stabbing. But it's just I'm in the trenches, and these people are at home in their beds being like, I can't believe I'm not winning any Medal of Honors. And I'm like, I'm getting shot at.
And they're just coming in, and, when they feel like venting a little bit, telling some jokes, and they go back home to their life.
Yeah, they do their 2 or 3 shows a month, and then they go home, and then they're like, I'm a comedian. And and part of me is just there is no there's no minimums to be a comedian. So technically, yes, you are a comedian. I just can't take your complaints seriously. Work at this or don't. And I understand life. I understand it less because I don't have much of one. People have more of a lives than me. I don't have I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a house. I don't have a lot of things that people have to take care of.
You're working on your craft.
I'm working on my craft, and it takes a lot out of me.
I don't have time for women, a house, and any fun. I'm fucking a comedian, and I'm giving the fun to you people.
I want a PlayStation 5, and I know I can't afford it because I have comedy. I want one so bad. And I've been trying to submit to more festivals. I've been taking comedy a little bit more seriously lately, and I'm advertising, also writing way more than I ever written before, which feels good.
Well, getting the social media and, trying to pump that up and, coming on here or getting more, going on more podcasts. I'm sure there's people out there even if there's one maybe not. Maybe I'm the first one that's gonna stop fucking with the comedians. I don't know. But I know there are a couple of podcasts out there that I think local comedians do.
Yeah.
I don't know how consistent, but I've seen a few of them. Maybe even John Parada had it going. Maybe it was during COVID, the COVID times.
Yeah.
He was doing stuff like that. But you mentioned podcasts?
I had a podcast with my friend, mostly during the pandemic. We took it very seriously. It didn't end up doing much, and it was very frustrating because he lived so far away, and that was where we would usually record. And it was fun to do. I don't regret doing it. There were bits and pieces that I really am proud of, comedy-wise.
What was the base of anything?
It was just like most of the time he wanted to like talk to serious people on occasion, and we sometimes did. But then our comedians we had usually ruined that for us.
Nobody wanted to come on after that.
You hear that? We actually got called out very funnily. But we had someone. We had a person running for like a local election in my friend's town, and
fucking throwing sticks in the spokes.
And I, being the comedian, at one point made a joke about the fact that my friend, my co-host, as a kid, threw his friend down a flight of stairs. And then on Facebook groups for the town, they were like, this guy running for like a local election, just laughing with these comics about guy flying down
so
the
they
stairs.
were caught. They were on him.
Yeah, it was on him a little bit. Also on Mike, my friend Mike.
But you like that? Yeah, I mean that gets your people
made me
chatting.
laugh. Made me laugh. I was like, this is very funny to me. So maybe there was like a little bit of a difference, but most of the time we had comedians on.
And why'd you stop? You mentioned too far to get together.
Too far.
And stuff.
He was busy. Comedy came back a little bit back after the pandemic more, and I really need to focus on that. I wasn't totally like against doing it, but my friend's also really busy with his family and his job and stuff.
Well, before we move on a little bit, you do have an Instagram here, and what is this? We'll show it, but this is.
I did little sketches.
So are these sketches part of your act too when you go on stage?
I had some things maybe in here that would relate to my act. They were mostly just dumb little sketches that I decided to do. And I don't regret any of them. Some of them are bad, some of them are good, but that's kind of just how doing sketches and anything. Some of them are bad, some of them are good in the beginning.
You can't have a gold record all the time.
I kind of stopped just because I got burnt out. I probably should go back to it. I've been telling myself to go back to it. I was trying to do 30 sketches in 30 days.
Oh, was that your idea?
That was my idea.
Okay.
And then eventually I kind of burnt out and I stopped. And then like lately I did put a bit up there.
This one right here.
Yeah, I
the
did.
Burger King one about being not good looking or something.
Yeah, you nailed it.
I'm fucking watching a little bit. All right, I'll throw it on there. Let me see.
There's a better version of this joke, but
oh
God, oh no.
I felt bad for her, and then her dad came up to her and was like, "Hey, if you don't stop crying, that man is going to get you."
Did you say that man or fat man?
Fat man.
Fat man.
No, that man.
Oh, that man.
Not cool, dude.
Brad Pierce with was this shot with the same camera that captured Bigfoot?
Say that again. You said Pierce.
Brad Pierce over here with a comment. Was this shot with the same camera that captured Bigfoot?
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Son of a bitch. Son of a gun.
Wait, is that someone that's filming it for you?
No, that's just someone commenting it. Oh,
yeah, well, that's what you get.
That's what I get for trying to post material.
I mean, you're out here doing skits and shit. Like, what's the feedback on here?
Honestly, like I was getting good views not on Instagram, but on Facebook Reels. Weirdly enough, I was getting like 10,000. I got 10,000 views at one point, where I was like, "Oh, that's pretty dope."
Was that before or after you got kicked off Facebook?
Before.
Oh, this was during the summer. All
yeah,
your shows.
I was.
So you're working pretty good. You're like you said, you're consistent. You're everywhere.
This was a good couple
you're
of
a
months.
whore, bro.
I tried, I try.
Wow.
Some people just aren't buying. But lately, I've been actually doing this thing where I've been like, I've been told you have to promote your shows more. You have to promote. And honestly, I think 60 to like 80% of promotion is for the booker, because they just want to know that you're selling the show. And I'm like, how many people do you think I'm actually bringing in? Probably less than 2. But because I have to do this, I have been like, all right, I'm gonna promote my shows, but I'm gonna do it in the dumbest, silliest, funniest way to me. So like one of these pictures of me is like I lost a bunch of weight, and it's just a picture of me with no shirt on, but my show is as the covering up my body.
Where was this?
Oh, up front, up top.
Now that's
right here.
All right, let me put this. Now that's another thing. You talk about. I mean, you talk about your weight loss. You're on a weight loss journey here.
Yeah, I lost a lot of weight. Recently, I lost.
Can see right there. See the body.
That gorgeous body of
fucking
mine.
Hot, Trevor.
This is how.
French, Canadian, whatever you are.
Why are our viewers not going up? This is insulting to my body.
Fucking, well, you know,
this is body shaming, if anything.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. Yeah, you're getting everyone off here now. So. Is this something coming up?
I did it. This already happened,
okay.
But I promoted. I was like, I need to promote my show, and I think of dumb ways to promote my show, and I was just like, I promote it by just putting it over my body, like I lost weight, check it out, and then there's just a poster of my show. I'm doing this Thursday.
You're thinking out of the box. So talk about that. Why am I keep going to my fucking camera? How much weight did you lose? Like, what's going on with that?
Technically, I lost a lot more than 75. The biggest I've ever gotten was like 400, and now I'm at 270-ish.
Now, when you were, a bigger guy, was that part of your crew, part of your, your act? You would bust on yourself a little bit?
Honestly, I think...
Dude, I got to say, on, your Instagram, there's a lot of Burger King shit going on over
I like
there.
Burger
What's going on?
I have a bit about Burger... You just kind of heard some of it.
Yeah.
I have a bit about Burger King. It's awful. I love it. It's a terrible place to be. Can't get enough of it. And it's just like one of those guilty pleasures that are just really amusing to me. And I have these jokes about it. And and I'm just like, let's just go all out on this Burger King thing. They're pretending to be a fancy restaurant. I know this has got nothing to do with comedy, but they're like charging extra for their food now, and they're like, we want to be premium fast food. And I'm like, no, you're slop. Be slop. But that's neither or there. I like here or there. It's just like they're
always out of the healthy stuff, whatever healthy they have, because they don't order enough of it because no one orders the fucking shit.
No one orders that shit. People are convinced that I love Burger King. I don't. I just love the idea of Burger King. I will go to other fast food restaurants. I just think Burger King is the most interesting to me because it's usually the worst. But it's like they pretend to be not the worst, and it's hilarious to me. Like, why not just lean in? Just be like, we're garbage.
Yeah,
come on down.
You're going to come anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just spent $14 for two double cheeseburgers, fries, and a drink.
It's insane now.
You know what I mean?
Stop pretending.
Fucking Wendy's is double that.
I know. Wendy's got really expensive.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts, man.
But yeah.
They still have the 4 for $4, though, I think, every so often.
Actually,
or is it 5 for 5, 7 for 7?
5 for 4
They go 10
now.
for 10 for 20.
They got rid of the 4 for 4 recently.
Did they?
The audacity.
That was my daughter's favorite fucking thing.
Yeah, it's just the 5 for 4 now.
5 for 4.
They still have it on the menu, but if you ask for it, they'll say no.
No, it's a 5 for 4.
No, it's no 5. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's the audacity. Whatever.
A couple more things here as far as, and then we'll. You got shows coming up. Comedians. I mean, you're only 28. I'm 57. I grew up in a whole different time about comedians. I grew up in a family that we watched a lot of comedy shows and stuff. My family, older brothers and sisters, we used to always watch it. Red Skelton, fucking Richard Pryor, all people like that. Who are your heroes as far as, the upper enchilada of comedians that you kind of looked up to and maybe inspired you to be a comedian?
Well, some of my favorite comedians are like comedians people don't really know as much as they should, like Chad Daniels. Very funny. One of my favorite comedians. Always makes me laugh. Nate Bargatze, a little bit more well known now because he was on SNL recently, and very funny. And some of the classics, Doug Stanhope. Maybe that's actually not maybe a well known name.
Yeah, you're throwing all these names are going right
Doug-
over my
Doug's-
head, but maybe some of you comedians out there, if I can know
They-
them, or a lot of you guys
they
out there.
they know. Oh, they know. At least they know some of these. They might not know Nate or Chad, but they definitely know Doug Stanhope, David Tell, Bill Burr, like some of the class.
Oh, okay.
Bill
Yeah,
Burr,
Bill
yeah.
Burr.
And those are kind of those are the comedians I really love. I really I think are really funny.
What makes a comedian stand out? And you've been at it for a long time, and I'm sure there's some comedians that have been in the circuit with you that maybe took off somewhere, got up there. Where do you see it? Out of like when you're watching a show, or maybe a new comedian, or seeing someone evolve, do you go, "Wow, that person's going to make it. They have it." Do you see that? Are you like, can you scout that at all?
I don't know if I've ever sensed someone's going to be huge. I've heard stories of people who have worked with people who are going to be huge. Like there were people from Boston. I do get a sense early on if someone who's starting comedy is going to gets it, or going to get it soon, and they're going to get good quickly. I can also tell when someone's going to struggle. But yeah, I do know when someone gets comedy, when they start or are doing comedy. That I have an ear for. Big is it's almost random. It's a couple of real components. It's luck, talent, and hard work, and like those three things. If you don't have those three things, you're out of luck.
Yeah, you can have two, or you got to have them all. I mean, someone's got to see you,
And it's
you could be the best, and that up and coming, and no one will ever know it.
And I think really it comes down to is putting yourself out there, and you got to keep doing that all the time. And sometimes you're like, some people don't have that. Like I have a hard time doing that. That's why I'm trying to really promote stuff now and do more things that I wouldn't usually do. It's just like put yourself out there no matter what. You might not work out, but you gotta throw. Like I've been submitting to more comedy festivals recently. I'm basically burning $30 to $50 depending on the festival. But I've submitted to 3 of them. I'm probably gonna submit to 1 or 2 more once a month. Hopefully I get on one of them. I think I have a good shot with 1 or 2 of them. But you gotta keep putting yourself out there and keep trying different things and doing different things. And if you don't, you're just going to be the funniest person in that room.
Now, you said burning, $30-$40. What do you mean burning? Do you have to pay?
You have to pay
a fee to get in.
You have to pay, most festivals you have to pay to submit.
Like an application fee.
Yeah, they honestly, some part of it is a little it doesn't feel great because it's like you're charging comedians to perform at your show. There is also an element of if we don't charge people, anyone's going to submit, and we're going to have 4 billion people who are probably not good at comedy submitting. And you kind of want the people who are not great or not good second guess themselves before they submit to a festival.
Yeah.
So there's a little back and forth about festivals. Those, I think they're important. I think credits are important, and I'm trying to get more of those. And I'm trying to do more things, and I'm trying to credits are really the beginning and the end of getting really booked. There are people with
What are credits? Now, what do you mean by credits?
Late night on television, on HBO.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
On anything. I have I know a comic I work with on occasion who's very funny, has a late night. He got on Jimmy Kimmel. Still has a hard time getting booked sometimes. So it's even with credits, it's a uphill battle, but they definitely make things easier.
Now, you mentioned, when people hire you for private things, they go to a website where you are on. What do you have up there that, some skits, some videos, or what do you have up there
I'm sorry. I think skits usually don't sell anything. You want stand-up. I have pictures of me in a show. I have kind of the thing, the bio I sent you, just kind of description.
Which is cool.
Kind of this is what your vibe is. And usually I just talk to them over the phone and kind of get an idea of what they want. And if I fit what they want, I usually will be like, I think I got this for you. And sometimes they'll ask for a video. I don't love sending videos of me, but I've been doing it and it's been working lately. So I'm like, I'm going to do this more often, I guess, where people watch your tape. I think because people become really judgy when they watch your tape and they're trying to be like, they're the booker. I was like, ooh, I got to make sure. But I have been getting booked off of it. I got booked in Providence on a rooftop in some hotel,
Yeah, they get a rooftop
apartment building.
Was it a private thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was very weird. It was cold. It was dark, and there was like 12 people there. It's upsetting, but it was
So
fun.
do you get like a sense of the kind of crowd that you're getting hired to perform in front of? Like you said, you're on the phone with these people and trying to figure things out. Do you have to get material? Like, do you have your set ready for different crowds or whatever?
Stand-up is like the reason open mics and shows are a thing. It's just like that's constantly testing your material to see who's it working for. The only time I will take jokes out is if they ask for a clean show. Then I'm like, all right, certain jokes definitely gonna have to get out of here. Not very dirty, but dirty enough that they're gonna like it. My jokes, like a lot of jokes should be as universal as possible. And if they're not universal, you should be able to describe them so everyone understands what you're talking about. Like I like that Forever joke I was talking about. It's about Lizzie Borden. And I have to I'm like, some people don't know who that is. And I have to be like, what's the quickest way to sum up who Lizzie Borden is? And I say, 150 years ago, this woman killed her parents, and as a city, it's all we've had. That's all we have.
That's all we have to go by.
That's all we got, and that's
the only landmark. Halloween is huge for us.
That's all we have. If we find out she didn't kill someone, we're losing business. We're closing down as a city.
I want DNA on that butcher.
Yeah, but it's about like getting context. So you don't really like take jokes. I don't take jokes out usually. Some people do. Some people change their jokes to fit the room. The only time I'll do that is if they don't want dirty. Then I'll be like, all right, dirty jokes out, clean jokes in.
Well, a couple more questions, my man. You have some shows coming up. Look in there. You threw them at me here, but you want to mention where you're going to be?
It's a good thing I can put it in notes.
All that good stuff.
Oh no! Did I not put it in notes? I think I sent it to you.
I'll look at it. Yeah, it's on your it's on Messenger.
December 15th. I'll be at Salute Wine Bar in Littleton, Mass. Pretty far, so I know maybe people. I mean, this is everywhere. It's on the internet. You could be near Littleton, Mass. January 6th, I'll be at the VFW Post 5390. That's in Rhode Island.
Okay.
You can do that one.
And you're from where? Swansea, you said?
I'm from Swansea, Mass.
Okay.
So when I
go over that fucking bridge.
It's going to be a 5-hour drive.
Lack of bridge.
And January 10th, I'll be at the Pint in Worcester, which is kind of far, but honestly, great show. All three of these are great shows, but you should check them out.
Are they all with the same kind of open or
three different? Most rooms.
You are a whore, bro.
Yeah, well, yes, also that, but also most rooms, like bar shows at least, are ran by different people. There are like John Prada does have his shows you run. So I guess I'm technically wrong, but like there's also outside of Rhode Island, shows are usually ran by maybe one person runs 2 or 3 shows, but John Prada runs like a bunch, like 1,000 shows, and there are other people who run like maybe 2 or 3 or 4 shows, and they'll like constantly book those. The George also is a great room in Providence. People should check out.
Talking to my buddy Andy Grozikowski, who does the MMA and does some stand-up, he was mentioned, Steve, you want comedians to come on the show? You want to go to some open mics and meet some of them out there? Watch them yourself, get in there, and that's, I don't know about that. I got word of mouth now. Trevor, you can get me a couple people down here.
I can tell you people worth talking to.
You can come down with a couple people yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is going to be an ongoing thing. Like I said, when I put that message out on the group page, got a lot of great feedback. I put them out on a couple of band pages in the New England area. Yeah. Get a lot of feedback. So I'm looking to, have comedians on at least once a week, once every couple of weeks. Same thing with musicians and fighting, man. We're gonna make this into a funny fighting fucking musical show.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, my man. anything you want to leave off with? I have your Instagram there. I noticed on one of your videos you have a TikTok also.
I threw all these videos on everything. They're all the same videos.
So yeah, they're all going everywhere.
But they're on TikTok, YouTube Shorts. They were on Facebook at one point. I gotta re-upload some of them. But they're all in there. I'll be back on doing shorts soon. I'm really focusing on stand-up at the moment, but I'm gonna try to dip my toe in that also.
Excellent. Last thing I'm gonna leave off with before you wanna give any thank yous or whatever. You lost your Facebook. Did we mention that?
Yes, I know. Did we? We might have done that.
We talked about it, I think, before because we have a coincidence here. I lost my Facebook back in like 2019, my original one from 2009, because I argue with people all the time. I called them a name and stuff, and all of a sudden they got me for fucking bullying and shit. But you lost your Facebook. Before you lost your Facebook, I mean, you've been in comedy for so long. That was a huge.
I had thousands.
That's what I mean. That had to be a huge thing.
Yeah, I lost a lot. Brad Pierce probably lost way more than I did.
I saw that too. He lost his fucking Facebook.
But I lost a lot also. We all lost pictures. We all lost friends.
Yes, exactly. Pictures of like your family, everything.
Brad, I maybe said. I don't know if I said this. I don't think I did. Brad Pierce said that it was because someone hacked my Facebook and posted porn or violence, and then that got it deleted automatically. And I'm like, why do these people have so much time on their hands that they're destroying my account?
I don't know I don't know if they're real people, bots or something. But what happened to Brad Pierce?
That's what he guessed. He called the state general or like someone who like should be like reporting this, like he was trying to report it. He tried to call Facebook. Facebook was no help at all. So we're all in the same boat. It was just like randomly deleted one day.
Start over. That happened to a lot of us in the media, New England, in MMA media around here. I don't know if it was copyrights. Some things were like they were letting pass, and then they just. Once they're on you, the bots or whatever, they look back to your history, and if anything goes over the line, they already got their eyes on you. You know what I mean? So they're gonna pick on you a little more and watch your algorithms and stuff. If you're a troublemaker, man, were you a troublemaker too?
Honestly, I used to be way more of a Facebook arguer, and I've held back. I definitely went off. Like Facebook, local Facebook groups are the worst. Like the Forever one is a nightmare. I want to fight everyone on that page. I want to like go on a TED talk on why you're stupid. They are stupid, not you, but like they're stupid. And sometimes, I've been doing the thing. I did it once where I was just like, all right, explain your point. Explain it. And then they're like, they didn't explain. They were like, do you really want all that to happen? I'm like, yeah. And I want you to explain why that's bad. And they never answered because they couldn't really think of a response other than they're just like, I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Facebook, social media. It's I've been kicked off a bunch of things. TikTok, I've been banned. I got a ton of friggin' followers on TikTok. I got popular from like four videos I put up there, and then I pushed the limits there and threw a little one they didn't like of a TV dropping on someone's head or something like that, and they got me for violence. It's TikTok.
That is weird. So
TikTok.
Was it a real TV hitting a real
ad? It was a show happening, and one of the monitors on the ceiling came down and hit one of the dancers on the head.
In real life, or
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they got me for I guess maybe because it was a Chinese guy. I don't know. No, just kidding. All right, my man. We got some more followers coming back.
Yeah, we came back.
Yeah, but we're gonna talk about off air some of these comedians that are gonna be coming on in the future, and some of having you back again with maybe one of your partners that you're.
I'm gonna say it right now.
What?
They're all great. All great. Every comedian that you talk to are fantastic.
I've talked to a bunch.
Yeah,
like I said,
when comedians out there.
When I put that post out, I probably had to get about 40 messages, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know who the fuck all you are. I was like, all right, I'm just random. Let's go.
Yeah.
Can you make the day? Can you make the night? Let's go. And my man Trevor, I'm glad you fucking came. This was good, man.
This was fun. Thanks
You
for
know,
having me.
there's nothing wrong with that, man. Come down with one of your buddies, another comedian friend, where you guys can have a little, backstabbing war over here.
Yeah, I'll fight him. This is an MIA
That's
podcast.
my fucking
Let's
slick,
get a
man.
boxing clip. We'll just fight each other.
I got one. I got it somewhere. If I can put
Yeah.
you right in the corner over there, two comedians.
We gotta
going
get.
at it.
We gotta get we gotta get our aggression out.
I have some people that can train each one of you.
There
and
we
can Just
go.
get it going in the corner or something.
I think there are people. There is a comic who boxes as a hobby. I think also Brad Pierce does that as a hobby.
Yeah, he hands with Gary Boletto.
Yeah.
Boxer there.
James Firth. I don't know if you heard that name, but I think he has also boxed before for like
There you go.
exercise.
Andy Kurtzkowski, he trains too. He knows everything about fights. He
Yeah.
fights and shit. So it's a small world, man. We're gonna exchange followers here, fans and followers.
Hell
We're gonna-
yeah!
we're gonna get-
It's MMA, wrestling, comedy. They all seem to intertwine at some point.
and a little music thrown in there. 'Cause you
Yeah.
gotta have music,
Gotta
to bring you out to the stage.
Oh
episode.
yeah, definitely.
All right, my man. Anything you want to leave off with? Any social media? Any thank yous? Anything you want to say? You mentioned your shows and stuff. I'll throw them on the feed, showing the dates and stuff. but-
Appreciate that. No, I think I got everything. I appreciate you having me on. If any comedian disagrees with anything I said, fight me.
Right in the corner.
Right in the
we
corner.
will record it. We will go live with that. Last thing, Trevor, I'm moving the podcast around and stuff, but were you comfortable in here tonight?
Yeah,
do
this
you,
was
do
fun.
You, do you recommend more comedians to come in here and
Absolutely.
hang out?
This was a good time.
Awesome, my man. With that said, we are going to we're gonna leave. We got things to do. And Friday night, I will have a band in here. They will be playing some acoustic stuff for you live. It'll be my first band in here. So I'm getting my cherry popped a couple of times
Twice
this week.
in a week.
Fucking A. I've been out of it for a
Right,
while,
that's
man. This is
crazy.
good for me.
There you go.
Trev, man, nice job, bro.
Yeah,
Glad to
hell
have you
yeah.
on there. With that said, follow us both. His social media is up there. And we'll see you next week or Friday. We out.